is a beautiful sunny day here outside of Mount Diablo in sunny California, and I am in a classic 1965 Ford Mustang. And the catch is, you can drive this car too. Let me explain. I'm borrowing this car through a rental service called DriveShare. DriveShare is owned by Vinti, and they own basically a bunch of different classic car rental operations around the world. You can rent cars from them in Europe, in America, and even in Canada. But here in America, it's rented to DriveShare, and the way it works is, think of it like Airbnb, but for cool and classic cars. People list their private cars on this service, and you can rent it from them. Some are only for photo shoots, some are for chauffeured things like weddings, and other ones like this one, you can drive it yourself. So this is so cool because I love classic cars, and every time I travel, I want to add one to a trip. So with this service, you can basically say you're taking a trip to Denver, you can look at their listings in Denver, pick a car you've always wanted to drive, and instead of getting a boring rental car, you can get something really, really cool. Now, I'll put links in the description for this actual car because this is a rental. You can rent this car too. And maybe you'd like something that somebody else has vetted for you. Anyways, we are in a 1965 Ford Mustang convertible. It is way too beautiful out here, so we gotta take the top down and get driving. Okay, so let's turn this guy on. Now, the way the top goes down is you just undo these two latches here and here. There's a top switch, it's electric. And there goes our convertible top. So, let's go drive this classic car that you can drive too. Putting it in drive. This car has been gone through from end to end. This entire car is basically new. It's been restored and a little better. It is, I would say, halfway between a restored car and a resto-mod. And I really like some of the design changes with it that keep the old school flavor, but also make it everyday usable. Not every day, but you know, if you're renting it, it's usable. Because these cars often have to be rented by people that have never driven a classic car before. They don't know the intricacies of driving something that's 50 years old. As you can probably hear, this car is a very healthy 289 cubic inch V8. Aluminum heads, aluminum intake, performance carburetor. The butt dyno tells me this car is making about 300 horsepower, and it sounds beautiful. So this car is a 1965 Mustang, and the Mustang came out in April of 1964, and to put it lightly, it was a sensation. In fact, in 1965, they sold more Mustangs than they sold Buicks, Chryslers, or Cadillacs. The Mustang model outsold those entire companies. It was an overnight sensation and has to be one of Ford's most iconic cars ever. And why? Because Ford gave the people what they wanted. Underneath this beautiful body is the boring mechanicals from the Ford Falcon. Google one. And that's why on this beautiful twisty road, I'm not going fast, especially in convertible form. This is not a corner carver. It's very floppy. All Mustangs are kind of twisty. The convertibles especially so, but it's not, despite all that horsepower I just mentioned, it's not really a performance car. It's meant for this, for cruising. Put it in drive on a sunny day, put the top up and just cruise. Now, while we're pulled over waiting for this truck, I'm going to show you some of the cool resto-mod touches in this car. First of all, we have this cool hideaway Bluetooth audio system. So I connect it to my phone, I plug my phone right through these speakers, which are down here, which the original Mustang never had, and I think that's super cool. This car also has an aluminum radiator, electric fan. The only thing that's overheating in this car is me in this California sunshine. Also, this center console, they never had anything like this. This is nice, and it's held in by Velcro, so you can just take it out for photo shoots if you really wanted to. Otherwise, this car is beautiful. The green paint, the white interior, the white top, and this car was actually born as a 1965 V8 convertible, which I think is cool. But as you can hear, it makes a great noise to those GT pipes. And that sound reminds me of why the Mustang is a hit. You heard me kind of complain about the floppy chassis and the rudimentary suspension underpinnings of this car, and you know what? It doesn't matter. Car reviewers in the 1960s said the same thing. They said it just looks like a sporty car. It's not actually a sporty car. But they failed to realize what Lee Iacocca already knew, which is that the consumer didn't want a sports car. They wanted a car that looked and felt to them like a sports car. And to this day, the Mustang still delivers those thrills. This car gets compliments like nothing else. Everyone knows it's a Mustang. They love it. And it sounds how you think a Mustang should with that V8 burble. It doesn't matter that it's, it's slower than its Golf GTI. It doesn't matter that it drinks gas like nobody's business. It doesn't matter that it has a tiny trunk. It doesn't matter that it bounces all over these rough roads. None of it matters because the Mustang is an image car and the image is what sells. And also, it gets you into a different frame of driving. If I were in a rental car, regular car, this drive would be nothing special. There would be nothing really happening. But in a classic car, there's a sense of occasion here. The wind in my hair, that V8 soundtrack behind me, this classic three-spoke steering wheel. I feel like a movie star. But the cool thing about this car too is that they've upgraded the cooling system. It sits in traffic, it doesn't get hot, and they've upgraded the brakes. There's Willwood, go fast brakes up front, power assist, still drums in the rear, but the point is that this is a car that you can drive and it doesn't require that much knowledge about how old cars work. You don't have to worry about it overheating, you don't have to worry about shifting into the clutch. This is a really easy car to drive if you haven't ever driven a classic before, and what a way to get started. Now, every part of the driving experience of this Mustang has been modified or upgraded. The engine is still a 289 like it was born, but it's got more power from those aluminum heads. The brakes, disc brake front has been converted and it's got power brakes. It's a Willwood system, so that is a lot more braking power than this thing used to have. I would say pedal effort is still pretty high, but they will get you stopped, and definitely has more heat resilience than the old drum setup. And the steering. This car was born with power steering, which it still has, but now it runs a little more modern GM-style power steering box rather than the crazy Rube Goldberg contraption of the original Fords. Steering isn't what I would call sports car precise, but it's a lot better than these Mustangs were stock. And I think modifications like this make the car more usable, more fun, more enjoyable, but they don't compromise the character of the car. Because I enjoy classic cars, and when they're too modern, they don't feel like classics to me. So I think this is a good mix, especially if you're someone that's maybe never had a chance to drive a classic. I think something like this, a Mustang automatic, is a great way to get started. And again, you look cool, you feel cool, and it sounds great. I think that's what the Mustang has been offering for over 60 years now. It offers a feeling, and it's a really unique experience, the Mustang. Like I said, it's got these sporty touches here and there, but look at the space. I'm not in a sports car, I'm not cramped. It's got a V8 soundtrack. It's so uniquely American. It can kind of only come from America. So if you like classic cars, but maybe you don't have the space or the time or the resources to own one, this is a great way to get your feet wet. And check out their Canadian service, bookaclassic.net, which is the Canadian arm where you can book things right in Toronto where I'm based. Or if you're going to a vacation in the States, check out DriveShare. Now, I only booked this car for a couple days, but man, I would love to book a car like this and take a big road trip. Like I said, the Mustang driving experience, well, it's not perfect. Like I said, look at the steering angle. It's not sporty. Look how much I have to steer it in the middle of a turn. And the brakes require a lot of effort. And the chassis, I don't know if you can see or hear it, it just wiggles around like crazy. When they took the top off of old cars, they really just didn't care. But those things are charming to me. And it's not a car that you're gonna go on the racetrack or drive really fast. Like, if I was in a modern Mustang, I'd be really hustling on this beautiful road. But in this car, I'm content to put it in drive and just cruise. And these vibes are why the Mustang became an enduring icon in the first place. But it's cool to drive the first one. It's not a 1964 and a half, but they're kind of the same other than door handles and stuff. but this is where the Mustang legend started. And when you drive the old ones, it's kind of amazing how similar they are to the new ones. For more classic car reviews, don't forget to check out our website at Driving.ca. Me, I'm gonna keep enjoying this beautiful car on this sunny road until I get third-degree sunburn. For Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams.